YouTube channel. If you're new here, kindly hit that subscription button, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for your love. Thank you for your taking your time and being here, guys. I'm so super excited. I'm so happy. Just the other day, and we are at 100 subscribers. Let's make it to 200 all the way we go, until we make it. So today I want us to talk about something, and this is how I got my Australian driving license. And then maybe I can just tell you the steps that I followed to get my Australian driving license. So sit there, watch the video, make sure you thumbs up, make sure you like, make sure you send it to your friends, and I really appreciate that. Okay. One thing you need to know when you're moving or you're coming from overseas coming to Australia, I'll speak about Australia because this is where I am located now. This is where I'm living currently. So you need to have your overseas driving license. That's the one thing that you need to have, whereby having your overseas driving license, make sure when you're doing your driving there back in Kenya or in whichever country you are, make sure you do practice your drive, so that when you come here it will be so easy, it will be simple transition, it will be easy to convert your driving license. So when you come here, I think you've been given at around 6 months so that you can convert your driving license. And something which is simple, it's not hard. As for me, let me say it's not hard, according to how well you're prepared, and psychologically, physically, and depending on the experience that you had back in your home country. Let me say it's not that hard, but it all depends with the different peoples, and then it depends with how prepared you are. How I got my Australian driving license. Let's start from there. I had my Kenyan driving license, and once you have your driving license, what you do is you go to the government services. Here in South Australia, we go to SA services. So that's why I went there, and I told them I need to convert my Kenyan driving license. So you go with your driving license and you go with your card, because there is some amount of money you have to pay. So I went there, and then I went over the counter. The guy asked me, what do I want to do? I told him I want to convert my Kenyan driving license. What they do is they create for you an account with them. That is, if you've not created account with them. Sometimes you may have created account with them and yet you don't know, but for me, I didn't remember, but I remember once you purchase a car here, you create an account with them, you register your details, so they have your details. If you don't have an account and you want to convert your driving license direct, so they'll have to create for you account. So they created for me an account. After they created for me an account, they did input my details. They asked me for the Kenyan driving license. I gave them my Kenyan driving license. They filled the information that they needed to fill. After that, that's where, after they create your account, that's where they give you you're supposed to go and do a learner's test. The learner's test, you do it online. So after they created an account, they gave me a temporary permit. A temporary permit that's included my name, and then it included my name here. It included my driving license number, that is the Kenyan driving license, and there down it's written that it's going to be valid for only 3 months. For me, I didn't know those 3 months I'm supposed to finish my learner's test immediately, then go and do the hazard perception test. After hazard perception test, then I'll go to look for an instructor, and I do the drive test, that is drive test on the road. I didn't know, but I was so eager. I wanted to do things fast. I get my Australian driving license because I know I'm a go-getter. So what I did is, after they created my account, I went home. And immediately I remember that day I started doing the test. That is the online test. The online test has videos, and then from the videos you view videos. After viewing the videos, there is quizzes. After every video there is a quiz. Once you are completed with those tests, there is a final test. The final test, it's usually for me, I think it had 30 questions, and out of those 30 questions you're supposed to pass 27 of them. Is it 27 or 28? 27, yeah, 27. So you're supposed to get 20. The least you can get is 27. For me, I remember I did it once and I passed those questions. It was so good. I was so happy. And but at first I had panic. Like when I was going to attempt the questions. I was like, what if I attempted the question and then I fail? How am I going to go about it? So I was back in my mind. I was thinking maybe I'll just have to repeat everything with the instructor, or maybe there at the SA, that is, and then I want to do it online. That's what I thought, but it was totally very different from what I knew. So after I did that, I noticed that if you fail, maybe let's say you get 20 or less than 27, you have another chance to redo the questions again. But for me, I did once and I completed those questions and I got 28 out of 30. Immediately after that, because the guy who I found there, they told me once I finish, I go back. So I went back to SA services, that is to the government services. I went back there and then I told the guy I've finished the learner's test, and he logged into my account, and he noticed I've completed my test. Then that day, the next thing was to book for my hazard perception test. Hazard perception test, I was to book. I asked the guy, when do I book for the test? Then he told me, whenever you're ready, you can book for your test. For me, I booked the test after 2 weeks. That's what I did, because I decided, let me just give myself 2 weeks. Once I'm conversant, once I'll be in a position to do some simple hazard perception tests back at home, then I can come back and do the actual now hazard perception test. Because he told me the hazard perception test, you will do it inside their office there. Basically, what hazard perception test entails, it entails how fast you are in responding to hazards as they come. Let's say maybe you were driving and then all of a sudden a child or someone bumps into before you when you're driving. So how fast you are to slow down and to brake. Then observation. Yeah, you can observe when you're at the lights, observe and see there's no vehicle that is approaching, so I'm good to move. You understand? So that's what hazard perception entails, I guess. So I went and I did my hazard perception test that day. I remember in that day in the morning, I woke up very ready to go for the hazard perception test. I went there. I found the guy again, and then I told them I have come for my hazard perception test. They told me we need to log in your details again. I don't know whatever they wanted to do, but after that, I was taken into a certain room that had computers in there. I was all by myself. There was no one there on that day. And then there was CCTV in that room, so nothing you could do. So I was given, I was told, go in, you see that computer on the far left? Exactly, that's where you'll do your hazard perception test. I went there, I sat down and I waited for the computer to open up. Then after that, you just have to follow. It's a touch screen. So I followed the steps, and then the good thing about this, you are being given a first attempt. First attempt is the exact thing that you will find for the test. That's what you're given. So I was given, and then it explains to you, you'll have to brake, you have to touch here. If it's right or wrong, you have to touch here. So that's how it was. And then after this, the tutorial one, I started mine. the test now. The test was so good. I remember I got everything. After that test, I went back to the counter and then I told the guy I've finished. Then they gave me a written paper, a generated written paper from the computer that showed that I've passed my hazard perception test. I was feeling so good, let me tell you. And I was like, oh yes, now I've done the hazard perception test and already had done online test, and I think now I'm good to go. Now here comes, I'm supposed to go and look for an instructor. Because not them we are going to look for an instructor for me, it's me who is going to look for the instructor. Now here, it's where you don't know where to start, because I'm new here. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to look for instructor. But I remember when I was completing my hazard perception test, I asked them, is there anything that is needed, or I'm just done now, I'm waiting for my driving license? And then the guy told me, no, you're supposed now to go and look for an instructor. And then I asked him, where am I going to find the instructor? And then the guy told me, you're going to find the instructor you just have to go online, go to the website and then look for an instructor who is around your place where you live. You just look for an instructor. So that's what I did. I went and I looked for an instructor. I saw one who is around where I was staying, and then I booked him for a day. I didn't know when I'm booking for him for that day, I didn't know you're supposed to pay how much, and you're supposed to go for how many tests, I went. Surprisingly, the guy that I found it's not an Australian, but a different person from this country. I think he was from where? From Indian. Yeah, exactly. He's an Indian, I guess. Yes. For me, let me say, we did the first test, yes, but I felt like I didn't understand more, especially when he was just directing me, do this or do that. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, what did you say? Or like, he said something, then I didn't get it right, then I did wrong. You understand? So when it comes to looking for an instructor, I think one should look for an instructor that maybe best suits you, a person that maybe you can be in a position to get to understand whatever they're saying. That's what I think I can advise, because for me at first it was very hard for me, and then I got so frustrated that day. I remember after that test, 1 hour test, when we came back, I just paid the guy the money for that 1 hour, and here it's almost approximately 1 hour, it's $100, $100 Australian dollars. That's what you pay. So after I paid, I felt like, no, I think I'm not good in doing this test again. I was so frustrated. I went back home and I decided, now I'm not going to do this test again. And I remember it took me almost like a month. So no, after this, no, because I had on it. You remember, I'm supposed to finish everything within the 3 months. And as we speak today, I remember that day it was almost a month plus. Now I have almost 1 month remaining to finish up my drive test, so that I can be in a position to take it back to the SA, and then they just generate my driving license. Now I don't have an instructor. The one that I got, it was so frustrating. I didn't like how the communication was, and this is because I'm a different person from different country, and he's from different country. So when the communication breaks, I thought maybe I'm supposed to look for another person. That's why I had to reach out to my friends, and I asked them for those ones who are here, to refer me a good instructor. Then I got this person. He's from Africa. He was so good. Let me say, he was so good, and I was so but let me tell you, the first time when I went to him, I thought maybe I know how to drive and I've been driving. And then this guy told me, let me see how you drive. And we started. So I started driving, and when we came back after 1 hour, he had a list of all the mistakes I made for that 1 hour. I thought I know how to drive, but let me tell you, I didn't know how to drive when it comes to examiners. Oh my goodness. It was totally very, very different. So this guy told me this and this and this and this and this and this, a lot of information, a lot of mistakes that I made that day. Oh my goodness. I was like, do I know how to drive? Have I been driving? It was so funny. When he gave me the paper, I looked at the paper and I was like, at this time I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't do that, I didn't do this, and I was like, no, this is not me. I am a professional driver. So I went back home and I called myself a meeting. I told myself, Njiri, you started this, so you will do it. That's what I did. I remember I used to make sure in each and every day, I just give myself like 20 minutes. I go around my suburb trying to make sure whatever he told me, I'm doing it. Because he told me, if you want to pass this thing as fast as 1, 2, 3, go to practice with yourself. Give yourself enough time. Give yourself like 20 minutes in a day. And by this, I mean, don't assume when you're driving to work, you're doing as per what I told you. So I was supposed to make sure that I have like 20 minutes. I go do my test, then I come back. That's what I did. So I remember it took me only 1 week. 1 week, by this I mean I did how many drive tests? That the first day, that one that I went, then I did another one with him. That one I improved when I went there, and he was like, hey, were you the one who came in the other day? And he was like, oh, I love this. He was so happy after he knew that I did a test, after he told me, go train yourself. And that's what I did. Then after that, then he told me, you only need one test, another one test, that is lesson. You only need he told me, you only need another one lesson, because they'd already done one. Then I came that day and he was so super excited after I noticed that I did good. Then he told me, you need to add another one lesson. So I did another one lesson. So those are how many? 3 lessons. That's what I did. So I came the other day, I did another lesson. So basically I did 3 lessons with him. And then he told me, you are good now. Can I book for your test now? And I told him, yes, I can. You can book for my test. Then he booked for my test. Unfortunately, after he booked my test, I remember he booked for my test on Saturday. And that day I remember I had toothache. I told him, I don't know what I'm going to do because I have a toothache here. But you know what? On that Friday, before the actual day for my test, I went to hospital and I got my tooth extracted on Friday. So I got my tooth extracted on Friday. I remember it was around what time? Around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. That's when I got my tooth extracted, because it was so bad. I had so pain the previous night, so I couldn't bear. Though I was saying, maybe all else, what I can do, maybe I can get the tooth extracted the next week after I do my test. But I tried to take medicine, but the pain was too much. So I decided that day on Friday, let me go get my tooth extracted. So I got my tooth extracted on Friday, and then the next day early in the morning, I woke up and then I went for my test. Let me tell you. So when I went for my test, one thing people should understand, that the person that was teaching you to do the lessons is totally very different from the person who will do the examiner, the person who will come to examine you as you're doing your test drive. That is, I went, the guy came, and that person was an Australian. And then another thing, I just let people get to know. Some people usually say that these examiners, they are so strict. Of which I understand they are so strict. I do understand them. I do understand them. The reason as to why they are very, very strict. You see, we are international students, or we are from overseas, and we have the overseas license, right? Then you come, you get trained, or you get lessons with this person. Then after the lessons, there comes another person who will test you will test you when you're driving, right? After, let me say, this person wasn't that strict with you. Then after you get your driving license and they approve you get your driving license, you go there, you get your driving license. If it happens, you go, maybe you have a major or a big accident, or maybe let's say something happens, then when the government, or when the police, or whoever they need to get to know where did this person did their drive test, who did examine the person, so they'll have to come back now. So once they come back, you know what, this examiner, or the instructor, it's very easy for them to lose their license. And can you imagine losing your license as an instructor? And that's where you get your cash. That's your work. That's your job. That's your office. So I really do understand them. So whenever they are strict, you just understand it's their work, and they would never want to lose their license, of which it's understandable. Understand? So I did my test in the morning, that is on Saturday, and then after but the one thing I noticed about the test that I was doing, this person was trying to disrupt me, like, okay, even though he's just instructing me what to do and what not to do, he was giving me stories. So you may be distracted from the stories if you're not serious, or if you're not you don't know whatever you're doing. So for me, I was so straightforward. I'm listening to what he's saying, and at the same time I'm concentrating on the road. So I did my test and I finished my test. And after we came back, I was so eagerly waiting to know whether I've completed my test, because I remember sometimes, I remember that day there was 2 people who failed their test, because before I started my test there was another person who went, but imagine after 20 minutes they came back, and I was like, oh my goodness, what is it? After I went there, then I noticed the guy was cancelled. He didn't finish his test because he made a mistake due to observations. It's not easy. Let me say it's not easy, more especially if you panic, because what I can say is most of people, they do panic. But once you panic, then you're done. Can you imagine? So after my test, we came back, then I parked the car, and then I remember I saw him writing down a certificate for my approval to go and get my driving license. Let me tell you, Maina, that's when I realized, yes, now I've made it. Do I say I've made it, or I did it? So that's how I got my driving license, my Australian driving license. It wasn't easy. Let me say it wasn't easy, because at first I had panicked, because I had only 1 week for my 3 months temporary permit to expire, and if I couldn't finish doing the test within those 3 months and take it back to SA, then I would have I think my license would have been cancelled. Then I start afresh again from scratch, of which is not easy. I know it's not easy. After I finished my test, and then I got the certificate now with me. I remember that day when I was driving home, I was feeling, oh, thank God. I remember I was feeling so good. Nilikuwa nasikia raha ndani ya raha. I went back home, and the next day in the morning, I woke up. I was so happy, thanking God for being there for me. Oh my goodness, it was so good. I went to SA now, to the government services in the morning, and I went inside. I told them, now this is the certificate from the instructor, from the examiner. Then they told me what I was supposed to. That day, when I went there, they took me a photo, and then they told me, no, I will have to pay for my driving license. Then there's charges if you want your driving license for 3 years or for 5 years or for 10 years. There is that amount of money you have to pay against the year that you choose. So I choose the year I chose, and then I paid for my driving license. I waited for I think I was there for how many for some few minutes. Then after that, the photo, I was taking the photo. After I paid, and that was all, I was given a temporary driving license. That temporary driving license, I was to use it for the period before I get my actual driving license, which I was told it will be emailed. I'll be emailed, and then I was told to be posted. So then I'll have to receive it in my mailbox. Then that's how I got my driving license. I was so super happy and super excited. Then I went back home, and that's all. Thank you guys for watching my video. I'll come back again with more interesting videos, and then I appreciate you being here, appreciating you for taking your time to come and watch my videos. Can you comment out there? Tell me how you feel about the video, and also don't forget to share with your friends. If you are new here, kindly hit the subscription button. I appreciate a lot, and nawapenda sana. Thank you guys.